Welcome to another episode of the O3 Dropcast, where we cover the offbeat, off-meta Legends of the Armory. We're here this week with a very special guest, someone who truly earns the moniker of a Legend of the Armory. We have Dr. Anna Runebabe with us today. We're really excited to get a chance to talk to her about crafting, about the community, and about the game that we love. So before we introduce her too much, let's just say hello to our other co-hosts. We have Brice.
I'm Brice, and I don't own a toaster.
And Chris.
I'm Smithel, and I love Olympia.
And I'm Poopy, and I'm Poopy.
I hate us.
Double Poopy.
I got the name somehow. I still won't tell you, but... Anna, Dr. Runebabe, hello. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh gosh, this is reminds me of first day now. No, that's what I'm Anna. That's what I am, the honorary mountain yinzer, as they like to refer to me as. Even though I don't live in Pittsburgh, I'm just south here in West Virginia. And I love Flesh and Blood and crafting and everything in between, and somehow that has gotten me known, I guess, in the fab world a little bit. So I'm just really excited to be here and discuss all things crafting and fab.
I have a question right off the bat that precedes Flesh and Blood, and that's about Pokemon. You have a Piplup and a Gengar. Which generation do you hold the most affinity towards? And is there a specific game that holds a place in your heart?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, because my favorite Pokemon is actually Piplup. That's why, just because I'm obsessed with penguins. But I mean, I grew up with Gen 1, and so I know that's a very cliche answer, but really, I mean, that's what got me into kind of this even knowing what a TCG was, but also just into that kind of animated style of television. I was I just grew up watching, what was it, the WB Kids?
Yeah.
Everything.
The nerd life.
CW,
the
man,
nerd
that's
life
great.
is what you're saying. Yeah.
And then game wise, that's what I really liked, Diamond and Pearl, actually, as a gameplay. I don't know why. I was that was one of the ones that I remember was one of the first ones I actually
because it has Piplup.
Because I was
because it had Piplup. Yeah.
It also had Piplup. I mean, that too. So
I'm just a grumpy old man, and I refuse to believe there's more than 151 Pokemon. Pokemon ends after Red and Blue, and that's it.
Dude, I feel you on some level, but wow, you are way older than I thought you were. Also, my last name legally is Ketchum, and so every game shop I've ever gone to has been Ketchum like Pokemon, and it's the fact that I decided to get into TCGs as a hobby was ill-advised, because I hear that joke every week. Specifically,
that sounds painful.
At the Armory. This week, our Armory, our local one in Green Tree, was a heavy hitters draft, and we had a very exciting third round where Brice and I were both 0-2 and were paired into each other in... was it a Betsy mirror? Yeah.
Yeah. It was bad. I'll tell you, that was probably... So I'm a level with you, if we're going to, dive into what we played. I thought we were going to be there for Blitz. I had Bravo with me. I was ready to go. I haven't thought about heavy hitters draft since pre-release weekend. I was completely unprepared for it. It was so bad. But that's how I played this week, poorly.
Well, I also didn't play much better. Statistically, I did play better. Because I ended up getting the win there. And I think I was throwing 19 overpower. It was one of those games where the Betsy really turns good, just lined up. Yeah.
Turns.
But I gotta say, I am the half-life on my excitement for drafting is like a month after the new set. I'm like, I've played with this toy. I need a new one. So heavy hitters, it's still probably, I think, one of the greatest limited sets in Flesh and Blood. And I'm like, I'm done with this. Give us Part the Mistveil.
Yeah. Now wait, if Twitter recalls, I don't believe that we were the only 0-3 folks recently. Is that correct, Anna?
Oh yeah, no, that's why I also my last week's armory.
One of us.
Because I decided to break out the OG KO in our Blitz armory.
Yeah.
And because I'd been after LA and then like the armory right after, I'd been playing a lot of my Briar, and I was just like, I'm tired of you, and so I was just like, all right, breaking out the OG KO, and ended up in the 03 bracket with one of the new KOs. Mm-hmm. So we had to see which was the battle of the KOs there, and see who's the ultimate 03 champion, and lo and behold, it was the OG KO because the rolls were just not in my favor.
Well, that's the perfect, I think, deck to represent the off meta part of our show, and offbeat. Go ahead, Chris.
So, somebody once said, and I love the quote, like when you talk about OG KO, is that when somebody, like when you're playing OG KO, only one person in that match is having fun. It's either the person that's just constantly doubling all of their attacks, or the person that like is watching you just roll low and just having everything all day. And like, when we sit there and talk about new players, I think OG KO should just be a deck that is built and just given to new players with just a whole bunch of like bulk big attacks, and be like, all you need to do is slap stuff down and roll dice, and you're perfectly happy.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean?
I would not have liked this game if I started.
Oh, I would.
The first time I played, it was like, it's 50-50 every round. Like,
I'm upset I waited as long as I did to play OG KO, because it is now one of my favorite Blitz decks to play, just because it is so random. And oh god, I think when we were in Indy or something like that a couple years back, Graham was playing OG KO, and he said like watching him like just knock people out and like them losing to OG KO just based on dice rolls, he said was like the best moment, because people would get so furious that their like hyper-tuned deck and everything like that was just losing just to dice rolls.
That's because Graham's a sadist and he wants to see people suffer.
He also plays Riptide a lot, so
and
fatigue Riptide.
I noticed also that there was a little bit of betrayal in your house this week regarding KO. I believe you had your eyes on a playmat that your partner got.
Oh, yeah, no, so I built the OG KO, I mean, it was probably a year and a half, it was like pretty soon after I got in the game, and because then I went to Viscera, I made my kind of casino Viscera, and everyone was like, if you like a casino hero, like, we got the hero for you. And so I remember seeing this mat, and I was like, oh my gosh, that mat's beautiful, Ready to Roll is one of my favorite cards, and so we started looking at the mat, and he was like, you're not going to guess how much it is. And I was like, you know what? Like, we're fine. So then he decides to pick up the new KO for the pro. He did the pro tour. And so he was like, all right, like, I'm going to pick him up ready and everything. And he likes to always like bling everything out, have the matching mats and everything. And all of a sudden a tube comes in the mail one day. And I was just like, oh, what's going on here? And lo and behold, and I'm like, I usually just open it. I'm like, I'm sure he already knows that I open it just in case, because I'm always like, what came in? Open it up, and I see the Ready to Roll mat, and I literally just, my face went, and I was like, and his excuse was, he's like, well, I'll just use it for CC, and you'll use it for Blitz. And I'm like, no. Let's be honest here, like, whose mat actually is this? Like, and then we decided it's actually mine, so... Fine.
No, that sounds fair.
That's how it should work out.
You open the mail. I'm pretty sure legally that's yours.
That's how that works.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's how marriage works. Is legally every playmat is also my playmat now.
And on that topic, I know that I personally love to bling stuff out. In fact, since we're going to talk about crafting soon, I have a couple of personal things that I did to bling some decks out. But is that sort of was that related to you getting into crafting with Flesh and Blood, or did crafting come before Flesh and Blood? What made you merge the two hobbies? Just an interest, or were you like, I play Viscerai, I gotta look good doing it?
No, if anything, I actually like have the least bling stuff ever. If anything, it kind of started more of like from like memeing stuff. Like I always loved crafting and like doing like I was one of those people that was like graphic design is my passion and would like make like weird things like on Photoshop and like paint and everything. And so like when I kind of started, and so I always did that before Flesh and Blood. And when I got into the game, I just was like, my mind is like a pun wonderland. And so like I would start seeing these cards and be like, oh, this would make the perfect pun, or this would be great. And so I started just like merging like images together. And so that's what like a lot like if you've seen my playmat, it's like a picture of like my cats photoshopped into the Viscerai art with like rune chants in their eyes. And that was just because one day I was like photoshopping something on, and I was just messing around and everything. And so that's the kind of stuff I bling my deck out with, is this like weird stuff that I've created and everything. I was hyped to get a $12 cold foil Aether Ironweave.
Yeah.
I was like, that to me that was bling. And then all of a sudden I'm like,
it's only $12 now.
Yep.
So,
and then my husband's Marvel KO came in the whale, and I was just like, yep, blink.
So I got to say, when you're talking about that, one of the things I have in my collection over here on my wall is very much the OG Rune Cats magnet that I got from you that only has 2 cats. So I still need to get the new Rune Cat because I am now outdated. So
if we want to talk about bling real quick, we got these in this week. Oh, that's probably going to be mirrored, but that's a 9.5. That's a 9.5. These PCG slabs are actually very fantastic. I don't know if anyone else has gotten any of these done, but the player slabs are very.
I have not.
Cool.
I was about to ask that. Like in terms of size, being able to fit into everything, all that good stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on those slabs, Brice?
They don't fit into the Gamegenic Bastion, and I think if this is absolutely a rabbit hole we could go down on a different episode if we talk about accessories and stuff. These Gamegenic Bastion 100s, they fit mini snaps in them perfectly. You can fit a full CC and I think like maybe 5 or 6 mini snaps in it. But the PCG slabs
Brazilian
do not.
Audio only listeners, which we have thousands of. We're talking, of course, about Brice's Marvel Kasai. So now I think I'm the only one who does not have a Marvel of their hero. Hopefully, I can get a Zen one. Oh, no Marvel Viscerai.
No Marvel Viscerai. I wanted so badly, but I've decided eventually through my pack cracking addiction, I'll find enough foreign history packs to find one in the wild.
Whoa! I'm gonna stop you. You don't have the Marvel, but you do have the giant Viscerai card. Above your fireplace. Oh yeah. So I'd argue that's slightly better than the Marvel.
Those are the best.
The giant Viz.
And it is signed by Steve Argyle, so it's
awesome.
No, you win. No. You win.
Okay, never mind. I'll sit back down. We're fine.
Yeah, I am not a Viscerai player by any means, but I'm very jealous of that.
I guess one more thing before we dive too deep into crafting stuff. Maybe not one more thing. Who am I to say? I'm not in charge here. Viscerai. Deciding to play Viscerai, sticking with Viscerai. This is a hero that, like, 2 weeks ago, people were like, that hero's unplayable. And now some people are like, that's pretty good. How are you with riding out the waves? Do you look at a meta and go like, my boy needs to rest? Or are you just like, no, that's how I am.
I've literally have not actually ever built one for myself. Like, I've done like play testing decks and everything, had those ready, but like Viscerai has literally been like, I learned him a month into the game. Literally, like, I went to my first major competition the week after Skeletal was banned, and I was like, people were like, oh, you're bold, and I'm like, oh, I'm here. And then like, but that's what I like. I specifically have built my deck because that's what I do, the very casino style. So I do like the tomes, I do the sonatas, like the whole 9 yards, because I've already accepted like I'm never going to be like a top pro memorize my pitch stack player. And so if that's why at this point I'm like, I would rather just not even worry about pitch stacking. Pitch stacking doesn't exist with my deck. And I'm like, so that's why I do the casino style, because at least then I'm like, all right, I might squeak out a couple wins that I might have not gotten otherwise. And like even during like the ice meta, it was miserable, and I kept trying to add blues and everything, and I finally was just like, you know what, like no matter how many blues I add to this deck, it's not gonna do anything, so I might as well just go swinging and the entire like all the way. And I mean, like occasionally it does work out for me. Like I like whenever I somehow got 11th there at the brawl in Pittsburgh there last year, and I was just like,
that's right.
I was like, all right, I guess the gambling gods were in my favor that day. That's literally all there was.
I was actually there, and I had been playing the game for about a week and a half, and one of the reasons I was so excited to like get you on the podcast is you gave me this sticker there. And when I think about people that make this community great, the fact that I was like, damn, those are some cool stickers. Like, where did you guys get them? And someone's just like, give a rune chant to that girl. And like, that was I was like, I don't have one. And they were like, write rune chant on a cracked bauble. And I did that. And you were like, okay. And I think you were like, it was like maybe round 5. Like you just like played like a big game, and I was just like, here you go. So I was super excited to have you on, because I'll remember that for as long as I play Flesh and Blood. Just that entry into the community.
Y'all gonna make me cry on this. I was like, I've already been watching One Piece recently, and I'm in some like so I'm already very emotional right now. So no, that's what I appreciate you guys, and that's what, because literally, like, I mean, I can tell like so many stories. Like, I mean, I remember the first time also meeting Chris, rolling up. Literally, you all had never met me before, and I showed up to your all's skirmish, and like you're like, oh, that girl's from Twitter. Like then all of a sudden you're like. Chris and I were paired round 1, and yep.
Does that ever get weird having people just be like, oh, you're the girl from Twitter? Like, because I know I've done that to, I forget who it was. I think some other person at Indie. I was like, oh yeah, I know you're the guy from Twitter. I was like, he looked real uncomfortable. I'm not sure if that's
like literally, if anything, it's just kind of like people will say that, and I'm like, I don't want to seem rude back, but I'm like, you have to tell me like what your username is, because that's the only thing is, I was like, I love it when people do that, because I'm just like, oh, awesome, like I'm actually getting to put a face to people, and like I know we're gonna talk a little bit more about it, but it's like getting to meet people is like a big reason like I love doing all this, and that's what it's like. But people will come up to me and like. And I'm just like, it's the worst part, because they're just like, yeah, I know you. You're like, you're Anna, you're Runebabe, you're the cat girl, or anything like that. And I'm like. And I don't want to be like, and I'm just like, please just tell me what, like give me your username or like something just so I can tell, like, and I was just like, I love you and I'm so excited for this. But I'm like, I do get, that's the only reason I ever get a little awkward, is I'm just like, okay, like, I don't know.
But who are you though?
Like, I'm like, if they have like a hero, like a Flesh and Blood hero, I'm like, I was about to say, I was like, and they'll be like, oh, like I have the Kasai picture, and I'm like, Kasai. So,
you don't feel like they're looking at you like, do a flip, like you're from Twitter, do a flip,
do something.
And I'm just like, I have my crafts, like here you go, like try to break the tension.
And I think that's kind of cool too about the crafts too, because I remember kind of when you started kind of getting into it and saying like, hey, give me a rune chant for a sticker, and then like it feels like every event you go to, the crafts you give out become more and more intricate and detailed and cool and things like that. Like you also do things like beer mugs and things like that for like your RTNs or whatever down at your West Virginia. I forget the name of the store. I apologize, but
oh no, we're at the boardroom there. There's one in Charleston, Hurricane. Yeah, no, because that's what I like. It's just been a way to kind of like make it a little bit more, I don't know, special, and just kind of like that way, like to highlight and be like, hey, our store is doing a little something different, extra, like, because especially like where we are in West Virginia, like there's not really another store that does Flesh and Blood. Like if anything, like Pittsburgh, like over towards like Chillicothe and then like Roanoke are like some of our closest stores. And so there's a lot of other big game stores in those areas. And so it's like trying to find just that little something to be like, hey, maybe like an incentive to take the trip to central West Virginia is like, it needs a little bit like something special. And then also it's just kind of like, I don't know. I also just use it also like it's an excuse for me to practice the techniques and things, because it's like I literally like with the intricacies, it's like I'm constantly looking up like, oh, I can make that. I currently have a pile of like wooden book boxes in my office that I just ordered like a ton of because I saw them online, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to wood burn these and like wood burn a rune chant onto these or something.
That's awesome.
Like I was like,
nice.
Like,
That's really
I'm like,
cool.
it's just like constant like I'm just I'll get these. I'll be like, you can ask Christopher. It'll be like Christopher husband, Christopher. Christopher.
That's his name is Christopher Husband. You made up this husband.
It's a weird last name.
All right, Mrs. Husband. Continue, Mrs. Husband.
And so like it'll literally be like 2 a.m. and be like, I have this idea, and like he'll be like, why did you just order like 90 acrylic squares off of Amazon? And I'm like, I have an idea. Like you just gotta wait and
trust
see.
The process.
Because which right now one of the things I'm also hoping to do is I'm going to try acrylic engraving, and I'm actually hoping to like engrave like hero cards, like and, like
cool.
So I have like some stuff like really cool like lined up, but it's a matter of practice because of between job, playing, and then adjunct professoring as part of my doctor work. I'm like, I got to squeeze the crafts in there somehow.
Yeah.
So
now the one thing that you said that I thought was really cool too in that speech was how you're doing it to try to draw attention to your local game store, because that's something that kind of the three of us are all big about too, is kind of the community building aspect of it, and trying to have this spotlight and this growth really on the players that are saying, I love the game, I love the store, I need to do what I can to kind of build the hype and foster a community around this game and around these players. So I think that's a really cool way to do it, and something that goes well above and beyond honestly what 99% of the players out there are doing for the game, because that's honestly one of the areas I think that we kind of struggle with compared to things like Magic or Pokemon, is that it's a much more competitive game. It's a lot harder for people to get into. And so kind of having that welcoming face that says, hey, look, come here and like, I have a bookmark for you. I have a sticker for you. Like Craig said, like, hey, look, just draw something and give it to me, and I will give you this back. It's really, really cool, and a really awesome thing that you're doing for the community, not only out there, but honestly everywhere that you travel. So very much kudos.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it actually started out as me bringing baked goods. It was more of how it started, and then it kind of has developed because, like, back when Christopher started the game, like Christopher Husband started the game, like I just kind of tagged along and and I would bring like random baked things that I was baking that week, and like people would start like being like, oh, they have like cookies, and so like people would randomly come over to the Flesh and Blood table because there was like I brought cookies over and like things like that. And then now it's kind of like, and then as I've kind of developed into more of the craft world, it's kind of like, I'm like, hey, like, look at all these cool things. Or like people will come over and see like the things that I'm handing out, and they'll be like, that's really cool. And I'm like, hey, just take it. Like, they're like, well, I don't know what this is. And I was like, well, go look it up. Yeah. It's like, and we'd love to tell you more about it. Like, so
did Mr. Husband get you into the game by bringing you to an armory? Was this a kitchen table experience when you first got into Flesh and Blood? Because you were saying he was into it first. How did you get pulled in?
Yeah, so I really actually I dabbled in TCGs before. Like I mentioned, like Pokemon. Like I had the Pokemon cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! I still actually have my Duel Masters guide on DVD that I bought in like second grade, and it's on my shelf. Never watched it. Had the cards. Never really got into the competitive side. But then, like whenever we moved into the area, that's what he had gotten into the game because he had went up and originally was asking about Magic, and the manager was really into it, so he got into it. And even after a month of playing, he won his first RTN, and that's when he got the EA. He got the EA tunic and everything.
Oh,
that was the RTN that he won. And so, like, I'd just gotten like really into it because I saw how much he was really into it. And so he's finishing up his residency right now. He's in his last like 2 months of residency, but it was like during this, he kind of got into it during that time. And basically I was like, well, his free time is going towards this game because he's getting really into it. And so like I started going to the armories and everything, and him and like all the people that were playing were like, hey, like you would really like it. You know, you like puzzles, like you like, you know, problem solving and things like that. And I basically was like, I'm the kind of person, like when I go into something, I'm like, I go full into something, and I was like, I don't have time. Like I was finishing up my dissertation at the time, and I was like, no, like I can't do this. And I was like, but then it was actually weird. Like I've told the story now a few times, but people like it's real. Like I literally had a dream one night that I was like, I learned Flesh and Blood, and I like woke up and I was like, guys, like I want to learn the game. Like I had a dream, and I was like, I had a great time in my dream playing Flesh and Blood. I want to learn this game. And so a couple of the people came over, and like our friend Ben came over and Chris, and they built me a Dash deck, and we're like, all right, like here you go, like sit down and we're gonna learn the game. And so like after that, like I was like, all right, like this seems like fun, and I didn't think I was gonna get competitive. But then a week later, I went to Indianapolis, and they were like, I was going to go to the zoo, and like, because that's what I was like, hey, you guys having the calling? I was going to go just check it out, kind of like see what the game was like. Like Christopher had given me our trade binder to be like, go try to sell some cards. And then like we show up, and they're like, hey, our like the friends that I had gone with were like, hey, our third for team Blitz can't make it anymore. You have your Dash Blitz on you, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you're in. And I was so new to the game to the point to where when I played against a Dorinthia and like they attacked, I defended, then they reacted. I had to be like, what's an attack reaction? Like that's how
Dash you were.
But
wow.
And so like it was just one of those, but like everyone was so nice about it. That's also kind of what made me stick around, because I lost 5 matches in a row. Didn't an 03 drop, I 05 dropped.
Yeah.
And, but I like everyone was just so nice, and they like sat down and afterwards and like talked me through kind of the match and was like, hey, you should have done this in this situation. This is kind of like how your deck works and things like that. And that was like really awesome. I was like, you know what? I love these competitions. Everyone's so nice. Like I want to keep coming to them and sticking around.
That's funny that you.
So we talked last week a little bit about like what decks and what heroes were the best to give a new player. Is learning the game, being introduced to the game on Dash, something that you thought like pushed you towards it? Like, would you say Dash is a good, good experience for new players?
That's what I liked it in the sense of, especially like it was Boost Dash, because with Boost Dash, it was like, you don't have to worry so much. You're not worrying about the balance. You're basically trying to all gas, no brakes.
All gas. I was literally in my head, all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. And it's like at that point, you're not like necessarily learning the nuances of like the blocking. The reactions aren't really a thing you have to worry about. There's no like, you have instance with like Achilles and things like that. But I'm like, at that point, like I didn't know. I was just like, oh, if I break these boots, I get to shoot my gun a second time. Cool. Like little things like that. And it was just kind of like over time, like just playing in armories and with people could help me like fine tune and help me understand like why that stuff was happening. And I started like understanding better, but just to like learn like, okay, what does pitch look like? How do I pitch? Like, how do I go from like what has go again, what doesn't? How do I give things go again? How does a weapon kind of work? I was like, Dash kind of like helped with those very, very basics. And basically you could pilot a deck and focus on just like the basic mechanics. And then from there, like I started going into other decks. Like I think the next thing I picked up actually was Blitz Oldham, because I decided to be the dark side just a little bit.
Total opposite end of the spectrum of Dash, which
is
good.
I mean, I think I lasted like a month on that. Like it was a very, very aggressive Oldham, but like from there I started learning more about I was introduced to the pummel. And I was like, oh, like what? This like what does a reaction do? And so but I was like, I think Dash just it was a really good starter. And I mean I'm also just an aggro player at heart, so
see I love hearing like people's like when I started the game stories about things that almost seem so basic knowledge to us now. Like we were like, I didn't know what a reaction was. Like one of my first actual competitive experience in Flesh and Blood, I actually went down to West Virginia, the Four Horsemen, and I played in an RTN down there. And I remember I was on Dory, and somebody played something with Dominate, and I defended with a card from hand, fine. And then I tried to sink below from hand, and they're like, "You can't do that. You can't defend with more than one card from hand." I'm like, "I'm not. This is a defense reaction. It's not a defense. Like I'm not defending. It's a defense reaction." And I was so adamant. And I was like, "That's such a bullshit rule. It's a different card.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I do that?" And like the guy was super nice. He's like, "Look, we'll call the judge. He goes, it's fine. They'll clear it up." But I remember I was so adamant about how that's not defending from hand.
Honestly, when I was learning, I had the same thought in my head, because you're not defending, you're playing a reaction. Like defend, but I think blocking is the word that gets
you're still
mixed up.
It's still defending. It's not block technically. Yeah,
not blocking. Yeah. And that was the nuance that when you're first learning the game, that seems very no, of course this works.
In fact, we had a new player return at our armory on Tuesday. My friend Jesse, who I mentioned in the first episode, made their way back to the armory, and they also had a dream about Flesh and Blood before coming back.
Yeah.
So they texted me maybe Monday. Our armory's Tuesday night, and I've been dogging them just every week, just like, what are you thinking about? Have you been on Fabrary?
Come on out.
Which ones do you like? And they texted me back saying they had a dream about Flesh and Blood, and they're really excited to come. So
that's awesome.
I guess that's how it happens, is it just comes to you in a vision. And
Flesh and Blood, the Flesh and Blood overlord, make sure that something gets pumped into your air.
It's not a game, it's a prophecy.
Yeah, if you leave $4 under your pillow, James White comes and sprinkles pack magic on you.
People at our store honestly probably think that with the number of fables that we've somehow opened. So
some stores just got the luck. I mean,
feels so bad.
We've opened a number around here.
I've opened one fable. No, I've opened two. I opened Corsham, but that doesn't count. That card fucking that card says destroy Solana, destroy library. But I'm sure it's much better than that. But I did open a Plague Hive very early into playing and was like, wow, this is awesome. And then was like, but I play Ninja. This isn't really, I was like, no, I don't need this. I'll just use this to get, staples. And
it's not a bad call though.
It worked. It probably got me into the game faster, but now I'm like, I don't want to buy a fable.
Wish you had it, yeah.
We do have some community questions that were asked on Twitter. Matt, also known as Sin on YouTube, Sin TCG, Sin Fab TCG.
Yeah, I think he just changed it. It was Sin on stream. I think now it's Sin Fab or something like that. But yeah, he's around. They know.
Who knows?
One of our favorite local bald boys. So he asks, if you were to give any talent currently in the game, to a new Runeblade, which one would it be and why?
Okay. Yeah, and I saw ice is not an option, and I'm would be sick.
If you say ice, I'm ending this recording
immediately. I'm saying ice. Ice.
Oh my god, an ice Runeblade would be terrible.
I refuse to become the enemy. That's what I'm gonna say. But no, I honestly have I thought about a little bit about this, and I mean, one of the things I think it doesn't quite fit Runeblade. I know Mechanologist, the idea of it's a class and a talent would be cool. It doesn't quite fit. I still think that given lore and play style and everything like that, a draconic Runeblade would be.
Oh yeah.
It just fits, and I mean, I I don't know, especially just like you saw between, I mean, Phi and Dromai, just like the aggressive, the red line, and everything like that. And I'm like, because I know like OTK Vis is kind of like what some people kind of go back and forth between. And I'm just like, to me, I'm just like, it doesn't feel right. Whereas like a red line, like boom, 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 Viscerai would just feel so good, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, it goes along with lore wise and everything, and I'm just like, it just seems right, and I don't think that I can go beyond that. Like the idea of any other talent just doesn't make sense.
No, I think a red line Viscera or Runeblade. We won't say Viscera, but a red line Runeblade. That's real tough to say. Red line Runeblade. But a red line Runeblade with a draconic talent would be so disgusting. I mean, it would. I'm trying to even think of how would you design a hero ability around that just wouldn't be busted, because the idea of basically like when you're playing against a Dromai and they got like an Asvali out or a Burn Them All, like that feels bad enough. But now if you give them the ability to find a way to have cards like that, where it is just, I am summoning something or I'm doing something that is draconic themed, you know, so like, God, I like, what's the sword that I hate right now?
Emberblade?
No, the Thorn, Rosetta Thorn.
What?
Like to sit there and
that guy.
But to sit there and find some sort of like draconic version of Rosetta Thorn that was just, you know, hey, go in, give me arcane damage, create a rune chant, go again. Like it would be the bane of my existence, but it would make Matt so happy. Like, so it's funny that you said draconic with this being Matt, because he's full gas, like all gas, no brakes, as we say.
I think eventually we'll see Briar again for all of our Arya fans, and I mean, if the community sentiment is what I believe it is, it sounds like people aren't a fan of dual talents, and so they would want an elemental hero to have one talent, and that would leave her either earth or lightning. I think I think lightning would be very cool. That would obviously mean that Oldhim ends up as the Earth hero and Lexi the Ice. If you know we were doing it that way, if we kept the same three heroes, I doubt they would. But if they did, I would love just a pure lightning Briar back. Get rid of Channel Mount Heroic, you know, for Briar, and just
replace it with Channel Mount.
What does that card do? Like,
I have no idea.
Nothing yet.
No.
I still play Briar for Blitz, and that's what it's always funny because I'll play it and people are just like, you never hit your channel mounts. Like, what was it? And I was like, that's because there are any channel mounts.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoopsie.
I don't know. That's still my favorite matchup that I play against Matt, is anytime I just do my like all gas Dory against his you know, basically like channel mount, like go fast Briar. It's just, well, neither of us are blocking. This is gonna be over in 2 turns, and just all gas. And it is so much fun. So much fun to play against.
We have a question from Greg, who asked, what is the fab craft you've made that you're most proud of?
Oh, I said, I saw some of these questions and I was like, oh, like, I should think about that. And I just really, it was so tough. Because, like, I can think back to, like, even some of my early ones. I'm not even sure if you can consider a craft. Like, before I got in the game, actually, like, our 1-year marriage anniversary, like, card, I photoshopped, like, I made, like, a hero card of, like, that was, like, a 1-year anniversary card. And so, like, I was, like, I had no idea what it was. And, like, he was, like, so excited. He still keeps it in, like, his deck box and everything. So I'm like, that one, I was like, the fact that I knew nothing about the game, and apparently, like, I did actually pretty well with, like, formatting it, like, I was really proud of that one. But then, I was gonna say, then I'd probably say the next one would be, actually, if you remember the charcuterie boards that I had, because I think that was really actually what sparked this whole thing of like the crafting, because it was kind of like I had just gotten the Cricut, and I kind of had started to realize that through like my drawing apps and things that I could like things that I drew I could turn into vinyl decals. And then, like I said, my brain's the pun wonderland, and I realized this, and I was like, it's all coming together. Oh my gosh, like I can do this. And so like and then I like saw that I could get those like little cutting board paddle things for literally like 50 cents a piece. And I was just like, all right, awesome. Like, because I was, so that time, like when I brought them up there was literally that first time I did the rune chant exchange. And so like, and like I just kind of saw the reactions that people had to them. Like that was really like the first time like I met a lot of people because they like saw that I had those, especially like because the board, like the stickers were really cool and everyone liked those, but people saw the like the paddles kind of people like made people like do like a second like, what is that, like what have you created? And so like that was really kind of like what sparked them, were those paddles and like charcuterie boards. And be so like just like the fact that I like, and that was something that I created the design, created the pun, like drew it, cut it, everything started to finish, then took those up to Pittsburgh and saw people's reactions and kind of got to meet so many people. And like through that, like just kind of sticks with me. And like I said, that really kind of got the whole ball rolling with this whole like craft exchange that I'm now kind of known for.
Chris and Brice, have you guys made any crafts?
Oh God, no.
No,
I am the farthest from a crafty person that you can ever get. I mean, if you were to try to have, you know, I think this is one of the things that I'm excited about. So, you know, if you didn't know, Anna will be coming to Camp Green Tree.
Hell yeah!
And so Friday, like, so at Camp Green Tree, basically, you know, there are the two main events. You know, the 5K, and I think the Blitz is a 1K or a 2K. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's Sunday. 2K on Sunday, but on Friday it's basically like there's all kinds of real cool things. Like John is like, I just wanted to feel like a summer campy kind of day, you know. And Anna, I believe, is coming up and doing like a how to make Flesh of Blood kind of craft thing. And so it is one thing I'm very excited about because I am not crafty at all. And so even if Anna's like, here's a piece of paper, Chris, you're gonna fold it into this paper airplane, that is a million miles above where I'm at. So like I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about that.
No, that's what I honestly like. I want to share like maybe like a couple. It'll be like a little exclusive of some of the ideas that I have so far of crafts to do. That's what one of the things is like rune chant pinwheels is kind of like cool. Like I just imagine everyone's gonna go around like spinning their little rune chants. And that's what I was like rock painting.
Yeah.
And like so some of those things, and then there's a whole lot more that I'm like planning on doing, and just kind of like helping guide everyone through the process, regardless of how crafty anyone feels. But just like it's gonna be a great time. I plan on being there the entire weekend. I got a brand new tent last year and I haven't really got to use it yet, so it's gonna be a great time.
I personally cannot wait until the people who own that land find all of the little rocks with mysterious sigils painted all over them, just scattered.
I told you they was into demonology.
That's gonna be a good look.
Gonna get like the waterproof ones, throw it in the creek, and then like 20 years later, some kids in there going, "What is this? Satanic stuff."
Start of a
so I also do some crafting with Flesh and Blood. I'd be remiss if I didn't share that my girlfriend's love language is also custom Flesh and Blood cards. They're not next to me now. They're downstairs. I have them all on like little displays. They're in mini snaps. All my mini snaps are fake cards awesome. Right now. They're in mini snaps. They're on like little easels, and they're of our dogs. And she made the heroes, and she's also made some cards for them. So one of them is an 8 attack for 2 resources. The other one is, I think, one of them is like a 2 attack for like 4 resources. And it's like, I love them. I love them, dear. Don't critique the card.
The on hit for that would have to be just like,
I mean,
like for a 2 attack that costs that much, the on hit is
the first one sounds like a brute card to me. 8 attack for 2 resources. Yeah.
That's swing right on big. That's just swing big with no downside. But I have a couple crafts. The one that I have with me is my Max the Hype Nitro deck box. So I made like a little graffiti wall kind of thing. And this was really fun. This is just a Boulder deck box that I sanded down and then spray painted and painted. And I show that mainly because I am in the camp of people that is not, I wouldn't say that I'm like a gifted artist or like gifted when it comes to crafts. I also have a Katsu altar because I don't have my Marvel. I have a Katsu altar that I made, and that always gets, reactions from people. And that one was just like whiting out, the area that I was going to paint over and painting a new scene on it. So I personally, that's some of my favorite things I've done with Flesh and Blood. Oh, also, we had a Halloween UPF night. Chris, do you guys, Brice, I don't know if you, Brice, were you there? Do you guys remember what I went as?
I wasn't there. You told us. I don't remember.
We had a couple names for it. I went as, you could have called him Christ the Hype Nitro, or Max the Christ Jesus, or no, Max the Christ Nitro. But basically, I went dressed as Jesus Christ, but with blue hair and a wrench. And that was a lot of fun for me. Maybe one or two people didn't love it, but I had a good time.
That's pretty genius.
I remember those pictures, and I mean, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. So no, I definitely remember that happening. I honestly didn't realize it was.
Well, I mean, like when you think about like how like idiotic my presence is online, it's like, hey, here's this guy dressed up as a fab character, like cross with Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Oh, what's his name? Poop King. Like, I just have a real brand of just like inane childish humor. So.
But that's what makes it great. But now the downside is you have to top, Christ the Hype Nitro, next year. Now you've set that bar too high for yourself.
Tunic KO. The perfect cosplay.
Please don't.
But no, well, like I said, I know you said you'll say you're not the crafty type, Greg. I will say you are very much the crafty type. I mean, you're the one that does like all the thumbnails and that for the show, and I always laugh because after we record these episodes, I'm an old man. I basically just drop and go to bed. I wake up in the morning, it's like 2 a.m. Craig's like, okay, look, here's about 50 thumbnails I came with. Like, I made these 4 animations, and check this out. This is. I'm like, what the hell happens? Like when I go to sleep, like you're just up all night, like behind, like in your Adobe Studio making things. I said, it's nuts.
I spent crafty. All of last night making an overlay that we are not currently using because it didn't work the way I wanted it to. It was like, it had like purple, like haze in the background that was like moving around. It's very rune bladey. And I just like couldn't get it right, and I was so devastated. But yeah, I have a lot of fun putting that kind of stuff together. And I mean, like, one of the ways this community grows that is not maybe the obvious thing, like memes and internet, right? Like, because it's not just how do you get new players in, it's about how do you show the community to players who have dipped their foot in. And one of the ways I think about that is like Magic the Gathering memes for me were a way that I got more into Magic, I'm not even up to date on what a Magic the Gathering meme would be, but like Soul Ring Bad, let's say it was that, right? And I played a few games of Commander and I saw Soul Ring Bad and I was like, I'm in on that joke. I get it. So I mean, that is another way that communities are built, and it's not necessarily something where like there's no reward for it. There's no like it's just fun for us to do, and it helps people who are getting in find their community, share it with the other people that they played with. You know, KO in a tunic is a perfect like example for people who just maybe go to their first battle hardened, they play a bunch of KO, and then all of a sudden someone's like, "Have you ever noticed KO's in a dress?" And they're like, "Oh my god, that is funny," you know.
No. So I guess it's to Anna. So when we're talking about, you know, what's currently going on in the world of Flesh and Blood, you know, I was just talking about today how it's weird to think that we're still so far out from the next set, but you know, everything's starting to drop. What's the hype like in kind of the West Virginia, you know, stores? Like, is everybody excited? You know, is it, you know, kind of slowing down for you all, or you know, what are you all seeing down that way?
Oh, it's actually like our chats have been buzzing. Like everyone down here is so excited, and we're really actually trying to use all this hype to also kind of like bolster our player base.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get into that a little bit. But like I'll start out with like our current players. So like we have our friend Ben. He still has his Prism shrine like in his apartment, like for like the original Prism. He's tried the new Prism, doesn't hit just right, and then he kind of saw Enigma and was like, all right, that's my girl now. Like we're all in on her. And so like when we were in LA, like between it was me, Ben, and Christopher, and like so we ended up getting him, in addition to like we got the cold foil rune chance, but we also got him the cold foil spectral shield. So he was like, all right, we're ready to go. And then we have our friend Kayla, who was loved Dromai main, and she's like on her way out and everything. So basically we were like kind of a little worried. We were just like, what is she gonna do? Like, is she gonna continue the game? Like what's gonna happen to her? Because we were like really like worried about like what was she gonna do when Dromai LL'd. And then as soon as New hit the screen, we were all like, Kayla's gonna be okay. Like
it does feel like whenever someone you know's hero hits LL, there's like a sort of community sense of like, should we do a house call? Do we need to do a wellness check? You know, like.
No, we took Ben out for mimosas and brunch the morning that Prism left.
When Katsu goes, first of all, I'm gonna make a prediction here. How dare you putting Tam? How dare you make Katsu LL? I hope you said your name right, because you obviously watch. But yeah, when he goes, I'm gonna be inconsolable.
I mean, I'm gonna be the same way with Viserai. Like when Viserai's gone, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But at least with like, it seems like these misfail heroes, even like one of our players who actually hasn't been coming around like as much or been super competitive is like, hey, I'm gonna be all in on
Bald Boy,
and was yeah, and so we've been really kind of trying to plan, and like so everyone's like so excited for all these new heroes. Like there's at least one person who wants to play one of the the new heroes like competitively, but then we're also really trying to like push to get new people into the store too, and kind of like using like the excitement of this to kind of be like, all right, let's do some learn to plays. Like, hey, we want people to come and learn before the new set. So we're actually one of the store locations, because we have the one in Charleston, and then we have one down the road in Hurricane that's like it's like 20 minutes away, and then another 20 minutes is actually Marshall University. And so like we've been really trying to like get some of the student population to come in. So I actually like we went and did a bunch of learn to plays at their Comic-Con the other day, and like we got like a whole new set of people. We were just like, you guys, and a lot of them actually really liked like the illusionist style. They actually really like Dromai, and we're like, well, sorry to let you know, but we were like, but there's all these awesome new heroes that like are about to come out, and they'd be really cool. So we think we have a lot of excitement with that, and so like we're hoping to kind of like get in on this excitement for this new set and like try to build up the community a little bit more, because we love our little group and we just really want it to become a big group. And so that's what, and hopefully with the misfail stuff, like, and as the spoilers keep coming and the hype keeps growing, we're going to be able to do that.
Now, you said everybody has their one hero that they're excited for, but who's the hero that you're most excited for?
New?
Because we're split. The three of us are split.
I was like, well, Viscerai, Mystic Viscerai. I don't know. It's just kind of hard to say. It's going to be just who, I mean, honestly, the most aggressive. And I mean, that's usually just going to end up being Ninja. But at the same time, I could also see New being just really, like, that idea of being able to play other people's cards. Like, for me, like, my blue Vexing Malice is usually my game ender. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what if it's used against me? Is like a terrifying thought. Like, oh my gosh, you arcane to me and I don't have arcane barrier, what am I gonna do? Like, so it makes me like second guess, like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? So because the assassin playstyle is like, I think is like really cool because it's very thematic and the like you don't know what's coming, you don't know what you're gonna get hit with, and so like I'm excited to see her weapon and everything like that too. So I think probably New is gonna be also my go-to.
I agree. Well, I'm just excited you said it was Zen and New that you're excited for, and that we can all agree the hero Brice likes the most is the one that nobody likes. So that's good. That's good.
Hit my microphone there. I was going to
I've been scarred by so many spectral shields being like, shield takes like, all right.
Illusion supremacy.
I'm super excited for Enigma.
I am Ben. I am Ben.
Enigma's going to be so cool. I'm very excited for Enigma.
Yeah.
I have a one-sided relationship with illusionists, though. I want to play them. Yeah. I don't want to play against one. I actually, in Ray Adams' chat the other day, Matt was in there, one of her playtest buddies and I guess teammates. And I was like, hey, when you came to Pittsburgh, you beat my ass, and then I said I hate Prism, and I want to say I'm sorry. And I was just like, that was bad manners. I shouldn't have said that to you. And I didn't say this, but it was like, I meant it. I meant every word of it. I hate Prism. But I love playing Prism. It's just, it's grueling.
No, Illusionist is one of those classes that, you know, the faster they all LL, and then James White goes, okay, look, I made a mistake. No more Illusionists, the happier I am. Yeah. You know, I mean, so, like, I have such a bad relationship with Illusionists, you know, primarily because, like, I did the Realm 20K, and I was so worried about Dromai, I took my Dory deck, and I hyper-teched it against for Dromai. I didn't see a single Dromai except for one, and that game I punted away super hard. And then, speaking of your friend Ben, I had a bone to pick with him because I'm having a rough day. It's the last match before I'm going to drop. I pair into Ben, and I was like, okay, he's on Azuri. I was like, I'm on Dory. I was like, this is okay. You know, at least it'll be a close match. He's kicking my ass left and right. And I'm like, now I'm getting more discouraged. I get low life. He does something. I block incorrectly. And I was like, oh, crap, I got to learn from my mistake. You know, no take backs. He goes, no, take it back. It's fine. I was like, thanks. I put more stuff down to block correctly.
Spreading plague.
He hits me with a spreading plague. And I was like, I hate you so much that you knew you had me no matter what. And you let me take it back thinking I had a moment of hope. And then you just hit me with the spreading plague. And I have no way to pay for it in death.
I love that card.
I'm calling a judge on that one.
Well, I'm actually really sad. He actually was here a little bit ago. Like, he was listening to me record this at the beginning. I'm so sad he wasn't here. He would have jumped on.
There are very few plays in Flesh and Blood I will never forget, but that is one I will never forget. Just because it was like, I was like, oh, he's such a nice guy. I was like, and he is legitimately a really nice guy. And I was like, look at this. Like, he knows we're at the fun tables. He lets me take it back just to hit me with a worse way to die.
Yikes.
It's okay. That's what I still remember one time when we were getting into the it was the winning in for a top 8 of like an RTN or something. And I still remember, like, everyone was watching us because our game was about to go to time. And I remember that it was like I was winning at that point, and like I was like just hitting him with like Mordred's Revels, like just going ham, and like literally like everyone was around us, and he just was like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose. Like, I can't draw anything other than reds. And I just was like, that's rough, buddy.
Sucks to suck.
It's okay. I was like, I've gotten revenge quite a few times for that because he hates Runebabe.
I played against a brute today on Talishar that for like 5 rounds it was 1-1, and I was just like, every time I had to attack I was like, ah! Like just that waiting for the reckless swing, and he didn't get there. But yeah. Do you guys have any other questions that you want to ask?
I was going to ask you if you thought it was.
I think it might be poopy time. Woo!
Poopy time.
Brice, I want you to make like a Hollywood budget level animation here, however you want to do it. But I would say that it should probably have like an A-list actor in it too.
Okay. So
I would love that. That would be great. Actually, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Poopy time today is all about the bald boys getting representation in this new set. A lot of people talking about feet, not enough people talking about scalp. Okay, we are about to get some follically challenged heroes, and we love to see it. I didn't really have much of a poopy time today planned. I spent a lot of time looking for some assets online for a future poopy time that I'm very excited about, because I think at some point we'll be visited by my friend Armani Pizza, the Armory Pizza. But I wasn't able to get him today. But hopefully next week we can have a little poopy time with Armani. So that's all I have.
He's flying in from the Riviera. He's hard to get a hold of.
It's
very, very busy pizza. Very busy pizza.
Yeah.
I was real nervous when you said you don't have a lot because you spend a lot of time Googling and like trying to prep for assets. And I just pictured you at your computer just like Google searching bald men just to try to see how many you can get for this.
So I don't know. There are so many men in Fab that have like long, luxurious hair, and it's fine. You know, I play as Katsu. He's got beautiful hair. Bravo, beautiful hair. Chain. I mean, like,
Chain has a hockey flow.
Bolton's got long, beautiful hair. I mean, it's like they make men with long hair. Even Zen had long hair, which is some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
If it makes you feel better or feel worse, Riptide even has an okay set of hair. I mean, it looks a little bit like a toupee, but Riptide definitely got some hair on him. So he may be a bald guy in hiding.
That green isn't natural.
What I will say about Zen is this canonically proves the theory that he went bald. It looks like his head is shaved. It is, but that's because it's in the back where it's bad. So on the Marvel, you can actually, like on the back of the card, you could see that he's got a bald spot. But looking at the card now, yeah, that man can't grow hair. Thank you, James White. Thank you, Brian Gottlieb.
I was thinking different. I was thinking all bald and just like a rat tail.
No.
Like that's not the bald spot. That's the only.
I would be pretty upset. Also, does he have like a goatee? I can't seem to tell if it's just a shade thing or if he's got.
He seems like a guy that would.
Is Zen? I'm trying. Like now, I'm looking at it close. It looks like it's a goatee. I believe it's.
We'll see. We'll see. Keep representing us, Zen. Please don't let us down. If you're a bad hero, I'll cry. But yeah, that's all I got. So, are you guys ready to drop?
I'm ready to drop.
Yeah. Drop me after this one.
Before we drop though, Anna, socials, all that kind of stuff. Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, no, that's what mainly I can be found on. The website formerly known as Twitter, and that's what my Anna Runebabe Shreve Anna Border 2, because when I made all of my usernames for everything, it was when I was snowboarding was my personality. And then so yeah, mainly on there, and then I'll get to see everyone. I'm already working up crafts for nationals, and hopefully get to see everyone at the summer camp.
Woo.
Also,
Sounds good.
Yep, check out the summer camp, everyone. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be real fun. All right, Craig. Now you can drop.
All right, drop me. Dang.